Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to Jamie Photography. I'm going to do something slightly different this time. I'm going to show you some sort of advanced function with the denoise, which we have here in Lightroom. I've been trying the denoise function, and I've been looking at other well-known denoise programs, including Topaz, which is very good. And I wanted to sort of do a comparison, and I feel that the Lightroom denoise function is perhaps a little bit misunderstood. It's exceptionally good at what it does, but one of one of my followers, Guy Dunn, actually pointed out that perhaps we should do it in a particular order, and we should perhaps apply the denoise at the end of all of the post-processing that we do. Whereas I normally do it at the beginning, get it out the way at the beginning. So I did a little bit of work to understand exactly how it works, try to understand when is the best time to apply denoise, and how can you help denoise with additional luminance and sharpness adjustments. So what I'm going to do is going to take you through this shot here. This has had a few slider changes just to make it pop a little bit, but the actual original image is this one here. So I was shooting for the highlights, so I've got the sky properly exposed, and as you'll see from the from the histogram, you'll see that in fact we're not really, if I bring the histogram down at the top, you'll see that we are just clipping at the very top. So this bright area in the center is as bright as you can really go. So we had to compromise with the darkness. Now, if I put on the detail here, you'll see that this is a ISO. It's 1000 ISO. So I was as low as I could go. Didn't have a tripod with me at the time, so I went to a tenth of a second using the lens stability that you get in the cameras and lenses these days. It's very good function. Stabilization, I was able to get down to a tenth of a second and really try to get a pretty sharp image, but there is quite a bit of noise in here. Now this was shot with a Sony a7R4, a 61 megapixel camera, exceptionally good camera, and its noise control is pretty good. It's not as good as an a7 III or an a7 IV. They're exceptionally good, but they don't have 61 megapixels. So there's always this balance, this challenge that we have between noise and resolution. So what I'm going to do is I've called this one here denoise before raw. So what I want to do is I'm going to apply denoise now, right at the beginning, before we do anything to this image here. So I'm just going to go down to detail. I'm going to click the denoise function here. I'm going to go at 50%. Maybe we could go more. Let's push it up to maybe 60% because there's quite a bit of noise in this image, and then we're going to enhance this image. So I'm going to let that carry on, but now I'm going to go to the other image I've got here, which is denoise after raw. Okay, and this one we're not going to apply denoise yet. We're going to do it after we've done the adjustments. So I'm going to go and do the adjustments now. I'm going to bring the shadows right up, open the shadows right up, bring the highlights all the way down, and if we zoom into let's go right in at 300%. Okay, let's make it a bit brighter still. Let's take the exposure up by one full stop as well. So we've effectively pushed the shadows by about 4 stops, and we've pushed the exposure by another stop. So 5 stops of push into that under this bridge. You see how much noise there is in there. Tremendous amount of noise. Okay, because we've not only have we shot it 1000 ISO, we've pushed ourselves 4 stops up. So that's pushing us up to 1600 ISO, 3200 ISO, 6400 ISO, 12,800 ISO. Okay, could even go as far as saying that we may have even pushed it as far as 26,500 ISO. So that's what we would see. Okay, it's really not usable, not at all. So this is not had any noise correction made. So what we've done is we've pushed those shadows, we've increased the exposure, we've got ourselves well up into the high teens, early 20,000s of ISOs. So now we're going to apply noise correction to this one. Okay, so we're going to put noise in there, 60% the same. So denoise function, I'm going to enhance that, so that's going to start doing it up in the top left corner there. So what we're going to do now is go back to the before. Okay, now this is the enhanced version. Okay, so we've done the raw, as the raw's been had the denoise function applied, but we haven't opened up the shadows or the or the exposure. So let's do the same thing. So we take shadows to 100%, and we'll take the raw up by one stop. Okay, there we go. So now we can see that there's still a little bit of noise. You can see that here. There is still a little bit of noise, but this is much cleaner. And bear in mind we're at 300%. I will zoom out slightly. So you are going to see some noise in this area. So that's denoise applied first, then we open the shadows, then we open exposure. So if I go back now to the after denoise after raw, yeah, so this is the one where we applied it after, so you can see that there's similar noise. So let's put the two next to each other. So we've got the denoise before and the denoise after. So let's select those two, and let's put them side by side in the in here. So let's have a look. I'll just move this out of the way and this out of the way. Okay, so let's just have a look. So this is the denoise after raw, this one here, and this is the denoise before raw. Okay, so if you have a look, I think this area here is particularly telling in terms of the grain, the noise that we had, and also probably around this area here is also. So if you look at this and you look at the noise there and you compare it to the noise here, I would say that the denoise after is ever so slightly better. It is ever so slightly better. You can just about see. There's not a lot in it, but it's definitely ever so slightly better. And I think here on this pier here, this wood, you can also see that it's ever so slightly better. There's a few artifacts there, but the noise level is definitely a fraction better. I'd say maybe quarter of a stop, but it's definitely there. So that's worth considering. So if we just go back into the develop module, and we'll take the denoise after raw, okay, which is this one, and that was the before, that was the after, right? So if you notice also that there's slightly different exposure levels, even though we've adjusted them by exactly the same amount. Maybe that's the reason, is the highlight slider needs to come over. So that's one, that's the other. So I'll do it again, right? So this is denoise before we do any adjustments, and this one is denoise after we've done adjustments. I have to say, let's go in even closer than 300%. Let's go into 400%. So you're going to start to get to see the pixels now. So this is denoise after we've done the adjustments, and this is denoise before we've done the adjustments. So before, after. I have to say that it is so close, it's really difficult to tell. But what you can always do when you've done your denoise, we'll go back down to the noise functions, you can always add a little bit of luminance. If we want to tidy this up even more, we can always take the luminance slider. So we're on the denoise after raw here. I'm going to set the luminance to 25, and you get a very smoothy look that happens then. But we do need to put the sharpening back in. So I'm going to push the sharpening up to 50. So just pop in 50 there. And then we need to mask. So if we just find the masking point, we'll hold down the Option or Alt key on a Windows machine, and we'll just pull this across until we decide the black has the noise correction added to it and the white is sharpened. So I think we're going to go there at 30. Okay, so you can see it's not quite as smooth as it was. So we can do a before and after. Before, after. So it's very, very, very slight. So if we now look at the denoise before, which hasn't had the additional corrections, okay, so you can see their denoise before, denoise after. So that's actually quite a usable image, bearing in mind we're at 400%. All right, so I'm going to make the same corrections to the denoise before. Okay, so we're going to go 50 on sharpness, we're going to go 30 on masking, and we're going to go 25 on luminance. There we go. Now, denoise before raw, okay, and denoise after raw. Let me do that again. So we're denoise after raw, and then we're the denoise before. The difference is so tiny, so tiny. So let's go out to 100%, which is, you know, we're still not all the way out. So that's your denoise before you've done any adjustments, and that's your denoise after you've done any adjustments. So I'm looking at it on a 4K display here, and I haven't had it fuzzed by YouTube for us, and I have to say to you, I can't tell the difference. I really think it's that close, and if I zoom all the way out to the full image, I definitely would not be able to tell the difference before and after. Ignore this banding down here. It does this when it renders. If you click on it, it re-renders the screen and it disappears. You see there, that's gone. If you jump back and forward, you see that's come again. Click on it, zoom in, it's gone. It renders it. So it only renders it when you've actually got it on the screen. So that's the denoise after. That's the denoise before. Absolutely no difference whatsoever. So I had a look into this just to see how it works, and what I discovered with Adobe is that the denoise works at the data level. It doesn't work at the visual level, which we might expect. And as a result, whether it's dark or bright, it doesn't matter, because the pixel is illuminated within the bit color depth, and therefore the data is effectively within the register. And if it's in the register, so you've got it within the histogram, you've not overexposed or underexposed, so you've not lost data, as long as you have the data. And that's why it's important to expose your scenes correctly, making sure you don't overexpose or underexpose. If you have the data, then the denoise function applies its effect to the data. So it really doesn't matter whether you go before and after. So I really appreciate Guy Dunn raising this point. It's a really good point, because it got me thinking, where would we be? And I think I'm happy to say that it doesn't matter if you choose to do it later or choose to do it before. I think that's really good. I tend to do it at the beginning, because I like to work with a nice clean image. And if you've got high ISO images, because sometimes you have to do it, then it doesn't really matter which way you do it. So, and the last point I'm really going to make is, you know, we don't need to be frightened of high ISOs anymore. You know, previously, if we were doing landscape or cityscape, as I do, I would always take a tripod if I could, and I would always run it 100 ISO, get the maximum dynamic range, and also the lowest noise. And noise was always our fear. Now, of course, noise is really no longer a fear, as long as you don't go crazy. You can push to 1,000, even 1,600 ISO, and then still push your dynamic range by 3 or 4 stops. But the big difference is at 100 ISO, you have a much greater dynamic range, at least 1 to 2 stops more. And so if you really want to be pushing the shadows, then I would always suggest you go ISO 100 on a tripod, and then you've got that dynamic range. But as I say, don't be frightened of higher ISOs. I've shown you here ISO 1000. We can clean the image up really well, and as we've seen here, and I'll go back into, let's go back into 200%, and at 200%, I'm not sure you can really tell. You can start to see the pixelation, but you can't see the noise. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you liked the video, I know it's just a short one, but please give us a like, and love your comments. Always looking for ideas on what we can do, and like this denoise function, taking the time to explore how it works, I felt that was very valuable. So yeah, thank you very much. If you haven't already subscribed, it'd be great for you to subscribe, join my adventure here on YouTube. But I would say for now we're all done, and I'll see you in the next video. So bye bye for now.